Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. You can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. The Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan. The Cleveland Browns are set to play the New York Jets tonight. In a game that I'm sure will, one way or the other, define somebody. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've made mention before that I am a lifelong Broncos fan, right? So I've seen Trevor Siemian play a lot of football. And I'm telling you right now, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He turns the football over relentlessly inside the red zone. He just literally, there were times where I've seen this kid just throw the football up. You know, there was one play when, if I recall correctly, it was against the Buffalo Bills and their tremendous defense that they've had over the last couple of seasons, where Trevor Siemian dropped back to pass. He was under a little duress, and literally the kid just did like a 360 and just threw the football up in the air for grabs, and it got picked off. I have literally seen this dude do that, man. So I'm going to tell you right now, for anybody who's been criticizing the Cleveland Browns or unwilling to give up on the Cleveland Browns bandwagon, whichever way you've gone, this game is going to define them. Le'Veon Bell or not for the New York Jets at this juncture will not matter. If Cleveland cannot win this football game, then I will say that they were an overhyped, overrated football team. And I'll admit that I was part of that hype. I did a thing here not too long ago, and it was called Admit It, You're Rooting for the Cleveland Browns. And maybe in part I was speaking to myself, but even then I admitted through the podcast that, you know, I myself have always been kind of a Cleveland Browns fan. I've admitted on several occasions that I think the NFL is better when the Browns and the Raiders are playing winning football. It just is that way. It brings something extra to the game when those two teams are good. Look, I don't have a problem with Odell Beckham Jr. wearing that watch. I really don't care, because let's be honest with you. The theory is that it was given to him by Richard Mille. Okay, so the more it's seen, where's it going to be seen more than in a live football game? You know, it's probably contracted in there. So the more it's seen, the more Richard Mille does for themselves. If it's not contracted in there, so what? Kid's wearing bling. Let him do his thing. You know, he's enjoying his life. He's living his best life. Like, get over it. Here's my thing. You got to win some football games. Look, Baker Mayfield was a huge topic of discussion for constantly being in the media. You know, there were some people that were commenting and saying, no, I really don't see the big personalities, and I feel like this is overblown. Odell Beckham Jr. is a pretty big personality. Baker Mayfield's a pretty big personality. But you're right. I mean, outside of those two guys, maybe you could add a couple of others in there. It's not really the team as a whole. But Baker Mayfield was very outspoken. And again, I like the fact that he drew a line in the sand, right? Duke Johnson, you don't want to be on this team? Okay. You're on the train or you're off. Do I think he should have done it internally, gone to Duke himself? Absolutely. To me, that's how you handle things. I don't think it should have been publicized. But regardless, he took the bait from the reporters, spoke exactly what was on his mind. Here's the deal. How much of that can you do? How much of that can you do, right? To talk about the New York Giants backup quarterback, the, you know, chugging the beer and all that kind of stuff when you're not winning football games. Social media presence does not make you a superstar on the field. And I think Baker Mayfield learned that lesson the hard way. Now, I do like how he was during the press conference afterwards. We've got to get better. A lot of it was on me. We're going to have to go back and evaluate. We don't care about the media's opinion. We don't worry about what they're saying about us. We are going to improve as a football team. I still love that aspect. You know, I love the fact that Baker is himself, that he's, you know, fun, enjoyable. I like all those things. But now you've got to put all of that you've done to make everybody look at you, right? Last season, you challenged Cleveland fans to show up to the last game. They did. The house was rocking. Okay? You did all that. You've done all these things. Now it's time to win football games. And if Trevor Siemian is the quarterback for the Jets and you don't win that football game, you're in a bad place. Because I will be the first to admit that I projected this division with the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens to be the toughest division in all the NFL. And if the Browns don't win tonight, guess what? That literally means only one team in that division, and that would be the Ravens, have won a game of football. Everybody else will have started out 0-2. Everybody else. I understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger got hurt throughout the course of that game. I understand that, the Cleveland Browns may have kind of fed off of their own hype and didn't play well. I understand those things. I understand that Cincinnati's hit and miss. They have a brand new football coach. I get all that. Okay? But that's why I said that really outside of the Bengals, I thought the other three teams, Cleveland, Baltimore, because I was one of the few that said that Lamar Jackson is a good quarterback and he could throw it downfield. Go back and listen to a thing where I was talking about, it's on my YouTube channel, Drew Duncan. Go look for it. A look at the Ravens season. I was talking about how Lamar Jackson was doing what he could based off of the play calling. Now they've opened up this offense and let this kid play football. Regardless, the point is this. I projected this division to be one of the best in the NFL. Right now, they are one of the sorriest in the NFL. And if Cleveland can't beat the Jets, not only is that a symptom of how bad that division is overall. And look, usually I don't get into this at 0-2. Because I'm going to tell you something. The Titans started 2-0 last year. One of their wins was over the New England Patriots. They don't make the playoffs, and the Patriots go on to win the Super Bowl. Okay, so my thing is I'm usually not that quick to jump on this. But this is a huge deal now, and the Cleveland Browns absolutely have to get the job done if they want to begin to salvage this season. The Jets are in a different place. You have to understand the win for them puts them in a good spot because now they're just waiting maybe another week until Sam Darnold comes back. The Cleveland Browns are a healthy football team. They've got the pieces to the puzzle there. Le'Veon Bell says he's fine and he's good to go, but we're going to find out how okay he really is tonight, aren't we? So when it boils down to it, this is Cleveland's game to win, period. If they don't, then there is a big, big problem in Cleveland. I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. YouTube is simply Drew Duncan. The Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And do not forget that you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.